making introductions is really good, just because, once again, if I know that you might be interested in something, or somebody might be interested in what you're doing, and I think it might be a good partnership, or just whether it's for business or for hobbies, then I think it's good to say, hey, I can make an introduction. And I always usually ask, do you mind if I introduce you to this person? I think that you guys might really have a lot to talk about. You like fishing from kayaks, and this other person likes fishing from kayaks. Or you mentioned this certain real estate project, and this other person seemed like they were kind of into the same thing. And I don't know if it might be valuable, but would you like me to introduce you? And then I'd say it to that other person. And if you both say yes, then I can make that introduction. And then, I'm adding value that way also, by introducing you to people, because I'm eyes and ears out there in the community,
Yep.
uh, and your eyes and ears out there. So if you stumble upon somebody that might be, that you think that I would benefit from meeting, or they would benefit from meeting me, then, make the introduction. So I always encourage people not to just sit there passively wait for other people to do it. You can do it too, and introduce people, just to get that good karma going. And maybe, it'll come back to you. But just being valuable, that's adding value to your network by making those introductions.
Yeah. I hate to be all personal and selfish about this portion of it, but so I moved here, like I said, actually almost a year ago now, and I've met a whole bunch of people, mostly a lot of people with kids, just because when you have kids, you meet other people that are parents, and that's just kind of who you interact with. It just is what it is. But I met two individuals that didn't know each other. They lived in the community. Our community has, I don't know, 1,400 homes here. And I went over to actually one of these events, this Boo event, and I met an individual who was in a contact center business, and it was really interesting hearing him talk about things. You could tell that he was passionate about his profession, and told me a lot of good tips. And I listened to it, and I was actively listening, asking questions. It was interesting because it's somewhat related to things that I do. And then a couple months later, I met another individual who was also very interesting, who ended up owning a contact center. And there's not a lot of these contact centers here in the US. And when I heard about it, I was like, that's really interesting. Have you met this individual? No. Oh, well, this is what he does. It would be cool if you guys connected. We're in the same community. We have the same type of kids and hobbies. Would you be okay with me introducing you to? And they both were, very okay with that. I linked them up as far as an introduction goes, on whatever messaging platform it was. And it ended up being that the guy who owns the contact center ended up hiring him to be his chief operating officer. And now they are working together hand in hand here in the same community to run this establishment that's going from 150 employees to 500 employees in the
Wow.
span of 6 months. So it's just really incredible, like adding that value back to friends and acquaintances in the area, because it's also like the people that I want to be involved with, right? Like they're not necessarily in the real estate game, but they're people that I'm involved with in my community, and that's adding massive value in my opinion. I think that was adding a lot of value, and it made me feel very good as well, that I could link these people up, and now they're helping each other out. So it's almost like the pass it on, what is it, the
Pay it forward.
pay it forward type of thing. So having them in this community inviting me into it, and bringing me over to these events, and then being able to bring other people together, just it paid it forward. So yeah. So not stealing the thunder here, but that's kind of the same topic of what we're
Wow,
talking.
yeah, that's a perfect example. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I think, yeah, a lot of people can see from these examples, yes, that this is something that it's very beneficial. It just makes you feel good, and you're adding value. Back to that, how can I add value? That's one thing you can do. Make
Yep.
introductions.
Yep.